Hello and welcome to the Bold Black Girls podcast. I'm Aries.
And I am Kim.
Hey there. I feel like we
Hey,
haven't
girl,
really
hey.
we haven't really talked this week. Like we kind of
So,
chatted,
you
but we didn't
know,
really talk.
this week was busy for me because I was in an all week training, which required I
Yeah.
study and I had to stay up to 1 o'clock in the morning. And I'm working with people in various time zones because it's a globe. I've never worked for a global company. So
Yeah, those
some
times don't
people
mess
want
you up.
on, yeah. So you have to adjust your schedule to the time zones of maybe your boss, my boss. So if most times like lunch, now that's 10 o'clock his time. Well, 10 o'clock is when a lot of meetings are going on. So I've had to really learn how to be
Like
flexible, like really flexible.
you
And like
said you're
not
agile, so I'm
I
sure they
did.
made sure to make a note of that during the interviewing process.
Exactly. And I'm like, darn it, I can't take lunch during 12. So like people are sending me things like, hey, you should join this. I'm like, I can't because I have a team staff meeting at 10. So yeah, busy week professionally. Um, so now that that's out the way, we'll be back talking.
I know. I was
I
like,
think
but it
that
was
took a lot
cool
out of
because
me.
I feel like my week it wasn't all training like how what you have, but I just feel like I was occupied in my mind during the day a lot. So it worked out. Um, and I feel like it gives us more to talk about when we actually get on the podcast. We can talk about things like from a fresh perspective. So
I
I
agree.
was very happy for Friday. It was definitely one of those weeks where I was like, TGIF. Like I am ready for it to be relaxation day.
Yes. Although I didn't relax, I had some things we had to go do. So it's like after work, I literally jumped into mommy mode, even with the 20-year-old.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And we ended up in my favorite grocery store, HEB.
And you traveled for that.
Over an hour, about an hour drive, but I was in the area. So it's like the type of person where I'm like, okay, well, I'm in the area. I need to maximize my time.
That's
So
smart.
you know how they have this list of black restaurants, right? So I was like, okay, what restaurant can I go to? So Kiara looks at me. She was like, you know, you don't need any funnel cake because I was thinking about funnel cake. I was like, you're right. So we didn't even get anything to eat or go anywhere. We just went straight to the grocery store.
Okay.
And do you know they had carnivals going on out there?
Like an actual physical carnival
Uh,
with people.
two carnivals in two different distinct locations
How is that even a
out
thing?
south. I was like, what is the carnival doing here?
Well, it makes sense nowadays with this coronavirus situation and it's like, I don't even know if we talked about it down here, but like we probably did about how people it just seems like it died off for a while.
Yeah.
Because we weren't talking about it, we were talking about black people being killed by police and stuff like that. And clearly the news has not been able to balance all the stories together at once. One just kind of gets silenced.
I agree.
No, we were getting bombarded with coronavirus every single day. The president was getting up talking about it. Judge
It was a
Clay Jenkins,
yeah.
everybody was talking about it. New York
Governor.
governor every day. So it started dying off as if the coronavirus died off,
This is
which
true.
clearly it did not, because we've seen a rise dramatically in cases and hospitalizations, which
Especially
lets
here
you
in
know
Texas.
real numbers, right? So people, even the president has said stuff like, well, they're testing more people, so of course there's more cases. Well, no, because these are actually people who are going into hospitals who are actually utilizing the ICUs and the ventilators and things like that. So it's clearly a real thing, but I am noticing there's people who don't believe it. Like they just don't believe that there's a way to truly prevent it. Like I've seen so many different like theories on why wearing masks is not that important, and even from on the
I
news
didn't
and
see
the
that
medical
information.
professionals, they had it on the
I
news.
see the reason why to wear a mask.
Like not like why it doesn't really make a difference. There's so many. I mean, and I
That's
guess it could
fake
come from so
news.
many. Well, fake news on ABC with the doctors. I don't know, but I just feel more comfortable. Like whether it is or not, we don't know enough about it. Period. In my mind, that's how I look at it. I'm like, well, I'm gonna do all the things that I think are going to protect me from it. Whatever that, whatever those things are. Not jumping right back in there. But I think people were really getting cabin fever and wanting to be back out in the world, which I totally understand because it is, it's different not being able to get out and do stuff and
I'm
whatnot.
even seeing people take vacation. Like
where are they going?
International or to other states. I didn't even know they had opened back up.
That's the part that I don't get. I'm like, so you're going to go back somewhere that's not open? Because everybody look like they're about to get closed back down soon.
Yeah, I agree. So it's like things are already closing here early, right? So modified hours, like, so what are you doing?
Right.
I mean, there are vacations you could probably take. There are outdoor friendly activities, right?
Yeah.
But
I just wouldn't want to get on the plane or nothing right
now.
now.
Was just getting ready to say that recycled air is that's my concern. Part that
gets me.
Yeah. I was already leery about it before COVID. Like, who sat next to me, which is why I like Southwest.
Why? Okay, let's do this.
You want to unpack that?
Why do you think that's better though? I don't get it. Why is Southwest better than, let's just say it's American Airlines? We're gonna just use that in the general plane only because I know that you get assigned seating in American. Why do you think it's better on Southwest when Southwest is like totally random?
You want to hear my theory?
Yes.
So you can choose wherever you want to sit. Mm-hmm. Most people walk past me because I'm Black and they don't want to sit next to me. And I'm okay with that. Unless it's a full flight. Like, I have paid attention to that. Mm-hmm. They're going to choose to sit next to me last. I'm going to be the last resort that you want to sit next to.
Especially if you're sitting there looking like, sit your butt here if you want to. I do that sometimes. I ain't gonna lie. If I'm on Southwest, I'll be looking like, don't sit over here. And that's just because I don't want nobody to sit in my row. It ain't got nothing to do with the actual person. Now, if it was like a handsome gentleman, then that'd be different. I'd be scooting over like this.
Smiling.
It's open.
Like to sit here.
Did you need? Okay.
It's available. It's available.
Exactly. Nah, but yeah,
I just always been a fan of
I want to know where I'm sitting.
I don't care. I know if I'm on that plane. What I know this is, if I get A, B boarding, I'm gonna have a good seat. And if I would like to have a better seating, I could pay $10 more for pre-boarding.
It's too much anxiety. Just tell me where my seat. I want to pick my seat. I want to know where it's gonna be and be secure. I can come when I want to come. I ain't gotta stand in no long old lines. I hate that about Southwest. It's like getting in the line. We gotta wait and hover over Group A.
So you're not agile. You're not flexible.
I am, but I don't want to be in those moments. When I get on the plane, I want to just be like, I already know where my seat is at. Boop, get me on. Let me go sit down. I can relax. Now I got to wonder, am I going to get a good seat? I don't like that. But, it is what it is. It's a part of it,
Yeah.
Especially when you're flying, not on a private jet or something like that.
I agree. So
but travel has been kind of shut down. So, shut down in the sense of people doing it as much as we used to. Like, I would have been probably on 3 different trips already by now if at least 3.
I would have at least been 2. Like this training that I took, I would have had to go to San Francisco for the training. So this was different for them. You think about it, everyone has to go to a virtual format. And so they have to be creative in how they keep your attention because they made us turn our videos on. So that way they know that you're engaged, right?
Yes. They do a lot of those. What do you call that? Those
surveys.
Surveys. Yeah.
So, and you have to pay attention. So it was like, you can't just be on there and not pay attention. And then now what they're doing too is they're testing you, like to make sure that you're retaining the information and getting the concept. So last week was like, I was turned on all week.
Yeah, you have to pay attention.
Yeah, but kind of going back to what you said about balance in the coronavirus and the social injustice. I don't know if it's fading away. I don't think it's totally fading away, but you do see it subsiding a little bit. But what I am seeing, not only in my company, because we had Friday, a counselor come in to talk to all the Black employees who wanted to be part of group therapy, which I thought was a really good idea. And the company I left before, because we did health insurance, I was like, it would be great if we had that type of option.
You've been talking about group therapy for a while.
Yeah, so it was like that manifested right there. And I was like, it was a wonderful experience. One, I got to meet people who I probably would not have met, right?
How did they put you in a group though?
I don't know how they end up doing it, but it was no more than 12. So they had maybe 12 sessions, less than 12 people. So whoever signed up, I think they just dropped you. Yep, they just broke it up. And mine so happened to be Friday. I think you got to choose your day, and they had different times. So my day was Friday. It was really good. So at the end, I mean, one of my questions was, I thought one was really good. He asked everyone, "How are you?" He was like, just share how you're feeling about all of this. You had different emotions ranging from rage, sadness, confused,
hopelessness.
Yep. But at the end of the day, everyone had to be vulnerable because we didn't even know each other. So you're out here sharing your feelings with people you do not know.
Yeah.
And I think we need to do more of that in asking people, reach out to your people and ask them, hey, how are you? And he talked about that. And so at the end, my question was like, well, are we going to do this again? He was like, every session, that was one of the last questions. And he was like, I think that is something that is needed for an option for companies who have Black employees. Bring in the resources, bring them to the company, which we saw Microsoft is being proactive, right? Most people are making a statement. It's one thing to make a statement, but then it's another to say, hey, I have a plan, and this is the plan, and I'm going to be held accountable to this based on KPIs, right? I'm incorporating this into my goals.
Same thing you would do in any other visionary goals that a company has for itself, right? They write it down, they have the breakdown. And I was definitely, like, I read through most of that, and it was pretty long. Detailed. It was long. Like I pretty much went through the whole thing, and I was just like, they need to give this to Joe Biden. I'm not lying. I was like, this is the type of comprehensive plan, and obviously, no plan is going to be all encompassing, and there's a gazillion things that we could do. But I appreciated the detail. I appreciated the thoughtfulness that went into it, and you can tell it wasn't just some group of white people who put together something. They had engagement from
the Black community.
Yeah, in the Black community, exactly.
And so what I liked, there was one thing that really stood out, and I believe we've said this before, accountability and ownership. So it said our culture, they said we need to ensure that our culture of inclusion is a top priority for everyone. It starts with our values of respect, integrity, and accountability. That says a lot. Like, you need to be respectful. You need to be integrity. That means doing the right thing even when no one is looking, like this is the right thing to do. Right?
Yeah. It's calling you to a higher, kind of like what I was saying at my job about, like, we are big on our core values. That's like something we start every meeting listing out the core values and what core value are you coming from in this meeting, you know, right? And when all this kind of popped up, it was like, this is a time for us to determine what our personal core values are in this moment, because integrity is something that you have to value. Like, these are things that you have to kind of, you hold yourself accountable to these things because it's something that you truly value. When you really care about something, you're going to really hold yourself to that standard of like, I don't feel right about this. You know, something made me not feel right about this moment, you know? Right. So I like that. I like calling it out. I just like the breakdown of how they did that, because I'm hoping that other companies see it. Hope other companies see it and they implement some of the things that they could implement at their company. Obviously, that's a large company that has all these resources and all that, but I think there is something to be gleaned from what they were doing, even at a smaller level, if you don't have, you know, as big of an organization as they do.
Right.
Because I'm kind of over, not even kind of, I am over
What are you
this
over?
fake stuff. Like I am so getting, I don't know if it's me being awakened. Like everybody's on a journey with me right now on my being awakened to different things. And I think reading this book that we're reading is really doing it for me as well, where I can see things different now. It's like today, our governor was doing a press conference with Vice President Pence about the corona. And I was just listening to how they were talking, how they greeted each other, how they were setting this conversation up and everything. And I was like, I'm so over this politicizing everything. Everything is not political. We're having a global pandemic right now that has been politicized. We're like, it's ridiculous. We've had these racial injustices from the beginning. I mean, if we're being honest, like the way America was created was based on the injustices. Like it's been rooted out of this evil,
Yes.
plot and plan or whatever. So we're really trying to recreate something. It's not you can't fix this. Like it needs to be recreated. And so I'm just getting tired of like this blah 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 out of everybody's mouth. The companies that are saying Black Lives Matter, but they don't treat their Black employees well. Companies, all these people that we talked about last week, like you want to do all the fluffy things that look cool. We're taking the word masters out of master bedroom. Did you hear that?
I did. I was like,
and we're taking the name of this off of that and all that. Okay, anyway, can we get the people, can we arrest the cops that murdered Breonna Taylor, please? Can we get the police to stop killing Black people? Like, can we just stay on task? Like, to me, I'm just so over this fake,
don't deviate,
fluffy stuff. Stay on topic. Like, I'm in a place of just like, let's continue to stay on topic. Like, I'm over.
Let's get back to the agenda. To the true agenda of what we need to do to have that change.
And we're still like, now we got all these elections that are going on around the country. And it's so obvious. It's like, I don't know if just like with the police brutality thing, because of video and like seeing it, things become more real. But it's like, we have seen, what's the lady's name who did the Higher Heights that we talked about when we went to South by Southwest? Where I got the Black Women Vote pin. I forgot her name, but anyway, I saw her on something. She was talking about the different elections and the different locations that we've seen. I think Kentucky was one, and Georgia, where the voter suppression was just so high. They closed the polls while there were hundreds of people outside in the parking lots and coming in and in line, where they locked the doors on them. And it was just, I'm like, are we going to act like this isn't happening and act like this is okay? Like, it's just getting so blatant. It's just so blatant and obvious.
Glenda Carr.
What is it?
Glenda Carr.
Is it Glenda Carr? Okay. That might be her. But anyway, so I was listening to her talk about the experience, because what she does is they go around and take people to vote, maybe some elderly, like they have a bus that will go pick people up and all this stuff. But it's like just seeing these blatant things right there in your face, and realizing like there are people who are not willing to, they're still trying to politicize this and make it like it has something to do with being Democratic or Republican. And I don't know. It's disheartening at times, because I'm like, dang, it's like we really just don't have a heart we don't have the necessary amount of compassion and empathy as humans to just be real about what's right and what's wrong. Like it
goes back to what we said, integrity.
Yeah. And so, yeah, that stuff, I'm just over it. And there's been so many conversations this week, which kind of goes into what we were going to talk about today. Like, what I've been seeing this week is mostly Black women, talking about how we have felt unprotected and unappreciated and unrecognized and silenced and all these different things.
I think what helped stem that, or the reason that was brought up, I don't know if you saw that protester who was protesting. She ended up being raped.
Yes, the 19-year-old.
Yes.
What's her name? I don't know. We need to say it though. was she was fighting for, you know, equality and rights and all these things. And she had came out and said that she had been assaulted,
Yep.
you know, and shortly thereafter she was murdered.
Aluwatanyan Salu.
That sounds right. And then she was murdered, and it was a Black man who was,
Yep.
you know, and it kind of comes into this part of the podcast is really for, you know, in-house business right here. To us as a Black, family meeting, as a Black community, just like for Black women, you know, if you listen to our podcast from the beginning on the podcast platform, we put in there a clip from Malcolm X talking about the most disrespected person in America is a Black woman, the most
unprotected,
the most neglected. And if we really, really break it down, I just feel like it kind of brings me back to that whole fight of what we're doing in the first place. It's like, yes, scientifically, if you go back, they tell you that everybody came out of a Black woman's body, period. All races can come from a Black woman, but all other races, you know, it can't be the reverse. Black can't come from other races. Everything comes from the Black woman, right? That sounds honorable. That sounds like something we should be acknowledging as valued and be proud of and all these things, right? But it seems that as the story continues, we have been lessened and lessened, you know, in all that. So there is a dichotomy in me of, let's talk about the interracial, like our racial issues within our communities, but also the general racial issues with the world and how they look at Black people, period, right? So there's this umbrella of just like Blackness in general. Then within our Blackness, we have our own issues, you know, that come from that same place as that overarching, right? So we got now this month, June was Pride Month, right? And so we've been seeing these new signs that pop up saying Black trans lives matter, right?
Yes.
And I've noticed, I'm not a big Twitter person, but I have noticed a lot of back and forth within this Black trans women community and Black women, where there's a thing going on there as if there's a competition there or there's something that we should be against each other for, which I'm just like, we keep on breaking ourselves off into these little silos when we need to focus on the Blackness first, because this skin,
that's the root,
is the root, right? And then everything else kind of comes after that. We can deal with the women issues, you know, the LGBTQIA plus issues, the poverty, you know, the low income, underserved, you know, disadvantaged, whatever you want to call a community. I just feel like if we got to the root, because I feel like the Blackness has been the most hated and lowest level of whatever we're talking about. That's been where it's at. If we solve that, everything else will be those other problems. And I think I told you about, like I said, I think about it like a video game where there are certain games where if you beat this one world that's super hard, it unlocks the other little ones. Now you can go over there and do all these things. But we keep on trying to go one by one. And it's taking forever, you know, and it's like, let's tackle this Black issue first. Because yes, as Black women, we can go down the line about all the places where we've been disrespected and not treated fairly by our own men, by our own family, by our own community. It's real. It's a real deal situation. Really, and can't nobody lie about it. You know, we have not been as protected. We do get, and I say we because I feel like me and you have already had kind of talks about this where we agree, but maybe others don't. But I feel like that whole Karen thing hurts more than it hurts more because of how amplified the white woman's voice has been in this world in general, by her man, by the world in general, by she can murder someone with her words. You can call the police and say, oh my God, I'm being attacked by a Black man. And they will come and handle that for you. Meanwhile, Black women have been screaming at the top of their voices forever and not being heard, you know? So yes, there is some things in this. Yeah, that, yes. But until we get the Black issue solved, we realize that probably won't be solved either, you know? So it's a sucky place to be in, I think, like, just thinking about all of it.
It's like we're fighting each other.
Yeah.
Instead of saying, let's fight together.
Because you'll hear it. I watched this thing on YouTube with these LGBTQ millennials talking about their issues and their fight, you know, even within the Black community, and how they feel like they're fighting for people who will not fight for them, and Black trans lives and all this. And I'm like, you know what? We're saying the same thing, but I think we all kind of have to, everybody has to take a step out of something that they're comfortable in.
Agreed.
We have to say, you know what? Yes, Black women are treated a certain way, but let's get to the root, which is the Blackness, right? Even the same thing with the Black trans, Black queer, Black, you know, gay, lesbian, whatever you are. Same thing. It's like, yeah, that's an issue. You know, that's something that we could talk about. We need to deal with. But when we're driving down the street, if we looked at George Floyd right now, he was a trans man, we wouldn't know what he was. We wouldn't know if he was gay. We wouldn't know none of that. He still had that knee on his neck, which represented his Black skin, not what his sexual orientation was. None of that. We don't know. When exactly. You know, eventually we knew, but we don't know that at the moment, right? In the moment, nobody's saying, "Hey, let me see your who you having sex with every night." We don't know none of that. This skin is the sin, right?
Skin.
You know, that is the truth. You know, I forgot where I just read that. I think I read that or saw that somewhere.
I heard that.
Somebody said, was one of our pastors? You know, we got about 3 pastors.
I think it might have been Darius.
It might have been him. It's like the skin is the sin, right? And so, I don't know. I feel like I'm getting more awakened, even in my own life of things that I've said. If you go back to probably the beginning of our podcast, and I probably don't believe stuff that I said no more. Like certain things way that I talked about things and way that I view things may be different now.
We've awakened and we've evolved.
And it's a continual process. Like I want to keep learning on how to be a better person, period. You know, we talk about personal development and stuff like that here a lot. And it's like, I want to be a better person overall. I don't want to be a better person except for the things that make me comfortable that I don't want to change. No, I need to be able to face those things as well. Like the book was talking about how we get into this Black elitism when it comes to looking down on people who are in the hood. We'll be like, well, you know, I'm not ghetto like that. Like I ain't that kind of Black person. I'm this kind. And it's like, you doing the same thing you saying, you know what?
Yep.
Kind of you. Because we're blanket statement, you know, saying that this group, because they're in this situation, this is how they are. And that's not true. So it's just a lot of healing that needs to happen. And I watched this whole program about Black women and just the differences there, because we still deal with like this patriarchal, you know, viewpoint. That's also a piece of this. So intersectionality is how this all started, how we even got to the point of talking about having a podcast. I was
just getting ready to say that.
The intersectionality that we deal with.
And speaking of that, I shared with you this week how Lean In actually took time to put together like the statistics, the data of what Black women are experiencing. So it was a great time, and I'm actually planning to leverage that in some future conversations. So I appreciate Lean In doing that, because I think that's what has been needed. Is for so long we have been ignored, like our pain. Oh, she's strong, yeah, and that's strongest to our demise. We're the most how can I say this?
Ignored.
We're ignored as far as our pain from health. You have Black mothers dying in childbirth.
Yeah.
Because
emotionally, physically, mentally, everything. I told you how when I got laid off the last time that my boss said, you'll be all right. I know it. Yeah. You're good. In other words, like as if I have just been through so much. I'm sure, you know, you could deal with it.
You're from the hood. You could probably
How you know? I might go break down right now, you know, whatever. You don't know what I'm gonna be. But it just reminds me of really what our power You know, we get this strong woman thing as if it's something that we wanted. Like it was a mantle that we asked for, being a strong woman. We didn't ask for it. It just what it is. Like we just have had to be that. We have become that. We have fought for people. Our whole existence is about protecting our people and our children, our babies, for them to have a better life. And I think it comes from that mothering piece of us being able to create life. If you have a Black male child, you're going to care about how Black men are treated, because your baby will be one of them one day. So regardless if
Absolutely.
you're a raggedy person, I'm still fighting for you too.
Yep.
Because my baby going to have to live in this world that you're over here not appreciative of, you know, or whatever. So I don't know,
And
girl.
I'm with you, because I can think back on times, and I thought about this. Someone had reached out to me and was saying, you know, how I was working on this project with this particular person. Do you know she gave me the blues for like 2 years? She was a Karen. And it was like it was so draining, and it was so, I wasn't getting the support that I needed. You know, it was like, oh well, she's just like that. Well, no, Kim couldn't be just like that and keep her job. And now she's telling the other people who are not Black, oh, thank you so much for everything you've done. Like, well, what am I, chopped liver?
It's a lot of mindset that needs to be corrected. But the sad part for me, I mean, it's on my prayer list of like God-sized prayers of really healing this racial issue. And I do believe that he can do it. I just, you
I
know,
do too.
obviously it ain't up to me to figure out how he gonna do it. I just believe that he can, and I hope that he does in my lifetime. But I'm like, there's so much that has to happen for healing to take place. If I think about myself in my growth process, just in my regular life, outside of thinking about race, like
Right.
how everybody else could just live their life without even thinking about race. I got race as a byproduct of me thinking about my life, right? It's just a part of me thinking about my life. So if I'm thinking about my relationships and all that, I have to think about race even in that, because it's not the same. You know, it's just not the same. It's like I have to be wondering what kind of, if you're not a Black person, even if you're Black, what kind of person are you? Like, are you a
Yep.
person who gets this? Like, do you understand what this is about, what this fight is, what we're looking for? Are you on this mission? Are you also a part of this change? Are you a person who does not, you know, subscribe to these things and you're not about it? Okay, well, I can't. Like, we can't be cool. Like, I don't even have people in my network that are not talking the right talk, you know,
Right.
when it comes to this. So I don't know. I just feel like it's something we always know. It's like you wake up, you know, you're a Black woman every day. There's no just like waking up not thinking about race. That would be interesting. I wanted to see what that felt like.
I know it would be nice. I mean, so, and we both attend the same church. We're hearing some of the same similar messages. I appreciate your Darius Daniels, your Pastor Conway, bringing this up. I just read a Bible plan by Tony Evans, Racial Reconciliation. Um, Pastor Conway challenged us to socialize with people who don't look like
The
us.
unity table.
The unity table.
Mm-hmm.
And coming from Chicago, where I
Segregated
lived
schools.
a segregated life, right? And I look back at this, we didn't have exposure to people who didn't look like us unless they were teachers in the school system. But again,
But you had
they were
all Black
just
teachers too, so
at least 75 to 90%. Yes. I did have some teachers who weren't Black, but just think they were just there for those few hours and then they went back into their community. It wasn't like we lived in the same community. And so I don't even know how I learned how to navigate that.
probably at
But
work. Probably at work.
yeah, but still, I mean,
Because
you
you
got to
were
know.
how? When did you start working at? You were young,
18, 19.
so all of your, you know, a lot of that was through work.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. But even still, like, people naturally gravitate to people who look like them, especially if you, I mean, think about it. Like, if you go to lunch, I saw most people I know going lunch with Black people. So when people would stop by and talk to me, they're like, Kim, you know, you talk to everybody, not just Black people, like people, Indians and white people. Like, I will go to lunch. Like today, I went walking with a Hispanic and one of my white friends who have been very supportive. And like, hey, one was like, I went to the march. I'm like, oh, wow. So we do have to find a way to have some unity with those people so that they know. They won't know what we're experiencing.
It comes from both sides, though.
I agree.
Because we'll give the burden to them, like, you better come over here and be talking to me and be my friend. And it's like, are you being friendly? Goes back to the same thing. It's the same thing. Are you being a person that they can come to? We have people in our network that will hit us up like, hey, I just want to talk. Let's go have lunch, whatever. And it's just like, oh, okay, cool.
Yep.
We're having those. You got to be open to the relationships. But I think when it comes to all this, I don't know, girl. It's such a big, complex, beast.
It is.
It feels like. We got reality on one hand. I mean, and for me, I always think about race like it's something that is wrong, but you still have to participate in it to a certain degree because the world is not ready to not be free of race. Like we just can't not categorize people in a way. So you end up kind of being in this fake world where you got to act like you don't see what you see, and it's not what it is, that we've been living in. And right now we're in a place where people are starting to talk a little bit more about it. Let's expose it a little bit more. Let's get open. But then also knowing the real of like how wrong it is and how we should not be this way and all that. So it's like this spectrum of just going to and fro, basically, trying to figure it out. So I don't know. It made me think as we were talking about this whole Karen thing and how we have a different life as Black women, and we do have burdens on our back that are specific, where we have to have that talk with our children and we have to see our men disrespected and maybe be even disrespected by our men in certain ways.
And not supported by them.
And just looked at really at the lower, if we had rungs of a totem pole where we all had to sit in our spot, we would be at the bottom. Like just real talk. Not because that's who we are, our value. That's just where we've been placed.
Look at us.
That's how they look at us, right? We clearly don't because we continue to rise above, and I told you, I said, I've been thinking about this. Still I Rise been in my heart this week because that's what kept coming to me as I'm thinking about it. I'm like, and still we rise and still we keep on being like, you know what? And I'm still going to go to school and get my education. I'm going to do what I need to do to take care of my family and my parents and my kids and my husband and my baby daddy and my whoever else. We keep doing it. It's like we just keep doing it. No, we don't want to be labeled as the strong Black. We didn't ask for that. We just became that because that we are the queens that we know we are within ourselves. Okay, yes. So period. Y'all don't have to say that.
Come on, you better come with the sermon.
Let's get there. Okay, so that's kind of what that gets me motivated and juiced up because I know who I am. I know what I bring to the table. One of the reasons why I don't have a man right now, if somebody really asked me the truth about why you ain't got no man, you know how they good for asking why you single?
Tell me.
Because I know what I bring to the table. And when you connect with me, I'm going to build you up. I'm going to pump you up. You're going to be better than you were when you left me. You're going to be that. But if you're not willing to take the challenge and you're not willing to be a better person and come out of your comfort zone, you will not. That goes for men, women, whoever comes in my life, in my orbit. This orbit is moving. It's producing. It's shaking. It's making something happen. You know what I'm saying?
What Kiara say is happening.
It's happening. So I know that. And now I'm not going to let any old body just be up in there. And no, I'm not going to be dragging you along by your tail, trying to make you be something. You got to already be moving. Are you trying to do something? Yeah. Like,
tell them.
Why are you running? Come on and hop over here, like that. But I'm not dragging nobody along. I don't care who you are. I don't care if it's a chick. I don't care if it's a guy.
I'm with you.
White, Black, whoever you are. I'm not forcing nobody to be on, be on this train. You want to be on this train? You're going to, people who are around me are elevating. So I don't know, if you don't want none of the elevation, and it ain't me, it's a lot more. It's more that, like we've been talking about, our spiritual connection, our purpose, connection. It's all those things. When you see, and we could look right now in our network of people who are also on that same vibe, they're progressing, they're building, they're growing, they're elevating, and it's just happening naturally. But it comes from a desire to want to be better, to want to be different. You can't change everybody else. And that's kind of just where I'm at with it. So, yes, that's
I'm
my
about to
sermon
take
of the
some
day.
notes. You have just come with a word right
Sermon of the
here.
day. It just came
Motivational
to me
speaker.
right now too, because I was like, you know what? And we are all that. Okay, let's motivate Black women right now, because I do feel like there has been a lack in that area. I think that yes, it's sad sometimes when we look at what has happened based out of the hate that started this country and had taken our bodies from our home country, our home continent, you know, and just broken us down in so many ways. And even when we talk about our Black men, which I love our Black men, I love Black men. I love Black men. So don't get it twisted. But even there is things that they psychologically and mentally have been beat down by that have caused them to do things a certain way that affects us negatively. And I don't know. I keep
hope. Different episode.
Yeah, I'm like, I keep hoping, my brothers, because I really do see what could be, you know, what it could be. And there are a lot of good brothers out there that are doing things the right way. So I think that the narrative, we need to just continue to promote the positive narrative of what the real is, so that we can just, you know,
see, that was heavy.
It's just a lot.
It is a lot, you know. I'm a Twitter person because it's just easier. So Chance the Rapper, he says I'm guilty of not protecting the Black woman, but I guarantee you that I'm going to do better, you know. And a lot of this also is stemming from the fact that the killers who killed Breonna Taylor have yet to be arrested. Like, how is that?
The Bible talks about husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church and gave his life up for it. Women honor your husbands, right? Submit to your husbands, whatever that, all that is connected. Okay. If you are being a God honoring man, a man who is about something, who's doing something, and loving your wife by sacrificing for it, the end of that Malcolm X statement from the beginning of our podcast, talking about what the Black woman is. He talks about how in the Nation of Islam, how they taught them to protect their women. They will kill for their women. They say, yes, he said, I'm gonna lay it out. I'm gonna say it straight. We will kill for our women. And I'm like, Professor Tupac Shakur said the same thing. Why do we hate our women? Do we, you know, like that's the whole thing when he was talking about, you know, how we need to treat our women better. And it's something that we've all known.
When we all came from a woman.
Got our name from a woman and our game from a woman. But we keep on I don't know what that psychology is, and I haven't done the study, so I'm just going off of what I've experienced and what I'm seeing. And clearly with these, you know, going all the way back, this has been something that has been known. So
Jesus.
We have to continue as Black women to encourage each other, to continue to strive, support each other in our endeavors. Do not compete with your sister. Help your sister, motivate your sister, jump on her platform. HOSU, hook a sister up. That's the St. Marshall statement. And that's why anytime any woman wants to be like, hey, black girls, come, we there. We'll help. Yep. We don't need, it ain't even on no how much money can I get and all that. When it's a sister that's trying to do something right, I'm there to help support. And I think if we do that more, we could really elevate, you know, as a people in general, because I think it will pay off, you know, in the end. It's just where we're at, y'all. It's just where we're at right now. We're going to get there. We're going to get better.
We need to bring a counselor back on. We need
a prayer. Where's Jada?
Yeah, Jada and Alicia.
We need a prayer, you know, but yeah, I do pray for us as women. I pray that we continue to rise above. As a matter of fact, I'm going to read that. What's our call to action today? I think I'm going to take us out with the Maya Angelou.
Just going back to what we said, supporting each other better, right? And while we realize Black Lives Matter, So do the Black women.
Oh, Black Lives Matter. How about that?
Yes,
We
they
go back to
do.
the All Lives Matter. Black. It starts Black. We can
protect
filter
each
through
other.
that. All of us. We all need to take what is his name? Is it Mike? The thing I sent you when he talked about the dividing and conquering, and that's how they end up conquering us because we keep on dividing. Let's not divide this mission. Let's keep it focused on the Black lives, period. Period.
Yep.
Period.
And if we
all
do
the Black
that,
lives,
we could do so much together as a collective.
we will unlock that treasure.
Those cheat codes.
Yep. Yes, the cheat code, right? The cheat code will be given if we just. It's like that was the
go in
key.
there and play Mario.
It's like that was the key, right? It's like, see, y'all had to get out of yourself. Get out of yourself right now. Go focus on the Black lives. Yes. So that we all can actually matter, and it makes sense when everybody's talking about all lives matter and all that. We know that we matter, but we just don't matter to certain people right now. So we want to focus on that. It's evident. So we want to focus on that. And
so you're gonna take us out of here with a little "Still I Rise"?
Yeah, I feel motivated. You know, I feel like I want to hear.
And it's so funny you you said I want to talk about the "Still I Rise" poem. Well, I have a laminated version of the poem that I kept in my cubicle to keep me motivated because, again, I had challenges at work as a Black woman, and it was tough. I mean, I had people say, wow, Kim, you are so strong, but like, dang, why should I have to be strong and endure how Karen wants to treat me based on how she feels about my color, or I don't feel like she should be in this position, or whatever the case may be.
Yes.
Just treat me like you would treat your child.
This is a poem that was written by Maya Angelou, and it is in her book of poems called Still I Rise. Oh, it's called And Still I Rise was the book of poems. My mom had this. This is copywritten in 1978, so a year before I was born. And I was like, dang, this lets you know, like, we've been dealing with the same stuff so much for so long. But this was really, I want to read this for a motivation to everybody listening, Black women listening. All right. Let me get my
your poetic.
What you call them? What is it called when they do the spoken word? You may wonder. Okay, so let me go. You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trod me in the very dirt, but still, like dust, I'll rise. Does my sassiness upset you? Why are you beset with gloom? Because I walk like I've got oil wells pumping in my living room. Just like moons and like suns, with the certainty of tides, just like hopes springing high, still I'll rise. Did you want to see me broken? Bowed head and lowered eyes? Shoulders falling down like teardrops, weakened by my soulful cries? Does my haughtiness offend you? Don't you take it awful hard, 'cause I laugh like I've got gold mines digging in my own backyard. You may shoot me with your words. You may cut me with your eyes. You may kill me with your hatefulness, but still, like air, I'll rise. Does my sexiness upset you? Does it come as a surprise that I dance like I've got diamonds at the meeting of my thighs? Out of the huts of history's shame, I rise. Up from a past that's rooted in pain, I rise. I'm a black ocean, leaping and wide, welling and swelling, I bear in the tide. Leaving behind nights of terror and fear, I rise. Into a daybreak that's wondrously clear, I rise. Bringing the gifts that my ancestors gave, I am the dream and the hope of the slave. I rise, I rise, I rise.
That was
beautiful. Maya Angelou, come on now. We're going to rise,
this is what we need. Yes. This is definitely what we need. And this is a great reminder to continue to still rise.
Yes. Yes. We thank everybody who's been supportive of our podcast. We want to, we see the statistics. We know who's listening. So we thank you guys for your support. Check us out at boldblackgirls.com. Get your Bold Black Girl t-shirts. And leave us a review, a rating, subscribe, and check us out next week. But we just thank you so much. We love y'all. Any other parting words?
Try and find some joy and some peace in the
Yes.
coming week.
Amen. All right, y'all. Have a bold week.
Peace.
See ya.